Happy Tuesday to you. Got it right, Tuesday. You're watching the John McEntyre Show live. I'm John McEntyre, and it's another one of those dreary type days. I don't do too well, and I have to really be coffeeed up on these types of days. So I didn't get my extra cup, but we're going to push forward anyway. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, and this month is definitely moving along. We have some uh, financial, really important financial decisions this time of the year. We're about to go into certain this the time of the year where some of your decisions that you will make now is really setting up for next year, especially in the area of healthcare. And so I was talking about that this morning. We'll probably start doing more and more of those type of shows. We may even do a separate type live specifically for those, or designate a particular day. Excuse me. To really address those because they really are that important. They're pertaining to your health care. But today, the routine. We're going to do cover some wallet wins people have shared. We do our question of the day, which is a couple's question sent in by the wife. We'll do the question. That was the question. Then we'll do the question of the day, and then we will be on our way. See that rhyme? See, they can't. They try to stop me, but I mean it's just in me. Um, I'm from the hip hop generation, the original hip hop, old school hip hop generation. That's just what we do. But let's get into these wallet wins. um, Wallet win number one. I renegotiated my credit card interest rate. Yep, smart, very smart. Definitely a wallet win. I'm glad that more and more people, as I talk to people, they're sharing that more and more about actually calling in, taking the time to make that phone call to renegotiate or sending an email or something. So yes, that is. Uh, you have a couple of credit cards, even if it's just 1 or 2%, that's a savings. Especially with it being an annual percentage rate. So over the year you can save yourself some nice coinage, as my daughter likes to say. We're trying to save coinage here. Wallet win number two. I made my last car payment. It was like four exclamation points behind it. That's always the one that's the most exciting when people are paying off their cars. It's so funny to me, uh, because I say it all the time. Anytime I see this wallet win, I say it. Paid for a car drives better. Uh, you know, a good car will drive well, but seem like once it's paid off, that same car just operates that much better. Uh, so that is a good wallet win. Wallet win number three. After shutting down my restaurant, an investor bought everything, and I actually made a small profit. They have a couple of exclamation points. Now I can move on with life. Uh, and I can understand that. I know a few people in the restaurant business. Um, in the beginning, very excited. You're uh, cooking, sharing your food, things like that. But then you realize to keep cooking for the people every day, someone has to be a good business person. And most of the time, if it's a small restaurant, uh, that's you. You have to be a good business person. And usually, what happens, the person they don't, the true chefs of the world, people that really like to cook, they lose enthusiasm because they realize they spend more time not cooking than they actually do cooking when they get to the restaurant. And so that's when it's like an artist. Artists, they're fine until they start having to try to make a living and get paid for their art. Then they go into, this other thing. They sort of lose motivation. Um, but the way they get their motivation back is whenever they actually start to sell a few pieces. And that's usually what happens. But with restaurants, a lot of times the people say, the thrill is gone of having to deal with staff, keeping up with accounts, working with vendors, negotiating on a constant basis. Um, I'm not eating, And there's nothing worse than a chef that doesn't eat their own cooking. Um, and they lose. Like I say, I've talked to a few people that have actually lost it, and they built it up, got it to a profitable point, and then just sold it, because they would rather see it change hands to a person who really wants to be a good business person and keep the food at the same quality. And they say, well, I at least get to enjoy it and eat there. So that's where they get to spend their time, or they become a consultant to the business or something like that. Maybe stay on part time or just cook. That's the smartest way of any business. If you're going to be in business, um, and you actually want to perform if you're a professional, you actually want to do the actual work, then the best thing is to bring in a partner. If you can't afford to like pay someone a salary, then bring in a partner who's willing to put in the sweat equity, the other types of equity in a business, and share the profits, and everyone becomes successful and happy. All right, so there was 3 good wallet wins there. It's good to know that this person actually and made a small profit. Just breaking even with a restaurant is usually what people try to do, just to break even. So to actually have made a small profit, that's good. And now they can move on with life onto their next venture, which will probably be another restaurant, um, because that's how they roll. So we had 3 good wallet wins there. Share your wallet wins. Go to the comment section, put them in, and we will share them as we go, because that's how financial success, wealth, that's how it's built. One wallet win at a time. And so we want to share them. There's no wallet win that's too small. Each win stacks up, and you add them, and then it gains momentum, and then it goes into what is that? It's no longer just linear 1 plus 1 plus 1. One day, one of those wallet wins could actually make everything equal 20 or 1,000 or something like that. And so that's why we celebrate the wallet wins. So share yours, or if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Put the uppercase Q so we can see it. Hashtag wallet win. We see it, we'll make sure and share it. Uh, and I'm being told I have to be more mindful of that. So I'm going to work on my side. You share, I will make sure to acknowledge them. All right, we're going on to this question here. Sent in, it was actually by a wife, and I condensed the question down because this is just the gist of it. How can I get my spouse on board with getting on track financially? It's the age-old question most of the time. Um, it comes to a couple. One's on board, one is not. And it's usually because of personality. Sometimes it's personality, which is usually the top one when you have a couple that's not on page financially, not on the same page financially. Uh, Out there in the personal finance world, some of the experts, they call, one's a nerd and one's a free spirit. One's a saver, one's a spender. It's usually those opposites attract. Um, and in the beginning, you don't really see that type of stuff. It's not important. Like to say, love is blind. But then as you move on and the newness has worn off, now it's time to see. Okay, yeah, you're beautiful, you're fine, you're all of this, that, and the other. You still look good, but uh, I don't think I could do 30 years of this, because I know you're not going to look like this in 30 years. So all of these other things having to come in play, we are having to take care of that. And what I've always said, I'll say it now, and I'll make sure to say it again. I've always said opposites attract, but it's those similarities that bond. So when it comes to handling money as a couple, you have to just right off the gate, just understand you're probably going to have some, you know, you're going to have some opposing views when it comes to finance. Probably going to have opposing views in a lot of areas. That's the reason why it's always good to have premarital counseling and actually add some financial coaching and counseling into that. We've done our share of it. We used to do a lot of it with churches. Uh, one of the churches we used to belong to, to become a member, you had to, especially as a couple, if you were going to get married at the church, not to become a member, but if you were a member of the church and you wanted to get married, that was one of the prerequisites. You had to go through counseling and had to be financial counseling. And we were called in to take care of that part, to really explain, you're going to be opposites in some areas. So let's get it in the open now and show you how to work together so it won't become a problem. Because um, some experts say that it's the number one cause, money or arguments, financial arguments. Some say it is, it's in the top three. But if it's in the top three, that's high enough for the causes of divorces in America, with the divorce rate being 50%. Almost at least 35-40% of those are because of money. And they say really up to half. It usually, even if it is something else, finances are somewhere in the picture. And so it's very important to get on board some way when it comes to finances. And so I'm just going to share some pointers here, because normally from our experience, um, just all of a sudden jumping up saying, hey, I want to get our finances in order, it usually causes some kickback. Uh, and part of the relationship is understanding each other. So you may have to understand that this person, the reason why they may not be on board, it could be their past. Maybe they grew up in a home where there was a lot of money arguments, and money is a point of pain for them. Talking about it and everything, it may be causes anxieties and things like that to discuss money, because maybe they grew up in one of those houses where a simple discussion turned into an all-out argument or a fight. And so they just don't want to deal with it anymore. They're looking for peace, and no hassles is basically what they're looking for. It could be just values. Maybe they just don't value, maybe haven't learned to value money yet, and it may be important to you, but it may not be. It's not that it's not important to them. It's probably just not as high on the ladder as you, for them as it is for you. And so that could be one. They could be high in the fact that they just not good with money, and so that's their way. They avoid it because they're not good with it yet, and they think maybe, a lot of people, they have a fixed mindset. I'm just not good with money. But it's been said time and time again, if you made it past kindergarten in math, you can be good with money. If you made it past kindergarten, I mean, it's simple. What's 1 + 1? 2. We even learned, in elementary school, we learned some multiplication, right? And if you can multiply, you can definitely be good with money. There's no question whatsoever. I've known people that couldn't read. I mean, they were functionally illiterate, but they were great with money. And they would say it. I may not be able to read letters and words, but I can read money. I know when someone's getting over on me or whatever. Now, over here, you put something in writing, I may not want to deal with it. You come over here in this area, that's where I roll. I roll very well. Um, I did do some math. so so you have to take that into an account. Maybe they just don't feel that they're good with money. It can be a number of things. Or some people they may just be immature. They just need to grow up and just, do the adult thing with money, learn. So you take all of that in account. And when I'm talking to a couple, first thing we do is to get everyone to say, the reason why we want to do this is because of love. Look what we can do. It's not a antagonistic type thing. This is not a battle. This is we're married. We're going in the same direction. Let's go in the same direction financially also. Let's pull everything together and go financially. Because you have kids, you may have parents to help support. There's other things you want to do. Might want to travel, whatever is important to you. That's what you want to do. So in the beginning, it doesn't have to. Some people say, well, I'm not going to talk to one and not talk to the other. I've talked to one spouse before and just gave them some pointers to go. Let's go back and explain to them why you want to do it. And then the next time the spouse shows up, because it's like sales. Relationship, marriage is just like any other relationship, is business, personal, whatever. It's like sales. You have to show them what's in it for them. And then until they see that, you're really not going to get anywhere with them. I mean, even if it is your spouse, it can be your child or whatever. When I sit down and we talked to Bella about money. Bella, wouldn't you like to be, when you get older, you would like to be able to buy the house that you want, drive the car of your dreams, and travel the world. What other things you want to do? And she started naming. Manage your money right, you'll be able to do those types of things. That's all we had to say. She's almost gone to the other extreme to where she just don't want to spend her money. She wants us to spend money on her, but she doesn't want to spend. So we've been working her back to the middle. But we had to show her what was in it for her. And once she saw that, she was good. And that's the way it is with couples. Once you get that spouse on track with that, and just put the patience and love and patience in there, and then just explain, this is why I want to do it, because that's how important it is. It's to send the kids to college, it's to have a comfortable retirement. Sometimes I've seen some more aggressive types have gone to the extreme. It worked. I was like, okay, I wouldn't have recommended that. They basically went home and said, look, we don't get this stuff on track. You just won't see me. This goes another year, I'm leaving. And I was like, wow, that was a scare tactic. I was like, I don't know if I'd have went to that extreme, but it worked. I don't recommend that one. But they were just conveying how important it was to them that they get on track. And it worked. The other spouse, they showed up and everything got on track. And I said, hey, let's not use that threat thing. Let's not do that. It's time. I've helped you with some financial stuff. It's time to go talk to a marriage counselor. It's just time to go talk to a marriage counselor, because I kind of picked up on some things. But like I said, just make sure you show the importance. Another one is just, okay, get some small agreements. Even if it's, okay, you don't want to really be that involved in it, will you at least give it to me? Can I take care of the finances? I'm going to manage them. I will manage them. I will give you reports. We will meet monthly, and I will show you how everything is working. And that's another way. That's usually the best way, because they see everything working. It brings them around, and you say, you have to put in there, you won't be restricted. Now, we might need to cut back. I'm going to cut back on this. I ask that you cut back on this, and because with the men, it's usually toys, and with the women, they're spending money on the kids. And so you have to, compromise. That's what the relationship is. It's the foundation of a good relationship is compromise, making sure you're making compromises here. And so make those agreements, just small agreements that are easy to stick to in the beginning. Like, I'm following this budget. Show them at the first month. Yeah, the budget, we're getting it on track. It's moving, but it's not going to work that well in the beginning. The person that I'm working with, make sure that you're working with someone that can help you with this. Don't try to do it yourself. If you're working with someone, that shows that you're much more serious about it. And then say, hey, this is how it's looking. Third month, budget is pumping hard. It's really working now, and everything is happening. They're seeing more benefits coming out of it. The air in the home is not as tense any longer. That type of stuff. That's when they really start to come around. So you just have to keep it. Sometimes you just have to give the other person time. Now, you don't need like years. Years, they're just being stubborn. They just want to do what they want to do. But a few months, they should come around, because they should see the benefits of it. And some people, they just say, look, I'm not going to be going into my 60s wondering how I'm going to live out the rest of my life. And sometimes that's just what it comes to. It comes down to that. But these are some of the pointers. Just, base it off in love and patience. Patience, and make sure you're, increasing your skills of money management. Make sure that it's working, because if it's not working, you really don't have a case. You have to make sure it's working, and show that you are committed to it. talking. If there's kids involved, kids are asking for stuff on a constant basis. Well, we're working on something different now. We're working on getting these finances in order. Pull the kids into it. Everyone knows what's going on inside the home, and that's when things really, you really start to win big time in the house. So I hope those helped, and I'll say it again: the opposites they attract, but it's similarities that bond. So the more you can get on the page together, the better things will be. So I hope that uh, answered the question. I hope I gave some good pointers. Maybe you could go back and talk to your spouse, if it's a spouse or a significant other, or if you're thinking about getting married. Is have that conversation. Um, if Because the signs are always there. We're talking the signs are usually there. If you're always having to pay for things, this, that, and the other. I know chivalry and all of this, the guy, this, that, and the other. But hey, sister, kick in every now and then. I at least like to see that you have something going or hey, bro, you wanna pay for this one this time? Do that. Let's just have the conversation. Just those little simple things. Um, Pay attention to when if both of you agree. I'll pay this time, you pay the next time. We went to Capital Grill where a hamburger is like $100. Why are you taking us to McDonald's? So that's a telltale sign. I'm just trying to help you out before I close this thing out. So let's get to the question of the day, and then we will check out of here. Um, as I said earlier, sometimes with people with money, it could be something that happened early in life. So my question for you is, what are your earliest memories about money? What are your earliest memories pertaining to money? Um, because that's usually where it starts. A lot of stuff comes from childhood before 7 years old. And that's financial therapists. The therapist said it, then they put added finances into it. So a lot of things that you do with money, a lot of it has to do with what you learned before you were 7 years old. And it's gone subconscious, and it's on autopilot now. So that's the question of the day. What are your earliest memories pertaining to money? So I hope that what I shared today was of value. And if it was, subscribe to the channel, share it with others. Uh, Send in your questions, your comments, your wallet wins. And until tomorrow, same time, same channels, we'll talk.